packed. I don't think it's really affecting traffic all that much. So, but something to keep in mind if you're going to be heading through there, just give them a wide berth. Eastbound 94, just a little bit tight right in the stadium interchange. Starts to let up just as you're getting out of it and heading in towards the Marquette. Not a problem. 43 and 41, all quiet as well.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living. Learn about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options at their June 1st open house. To RSVP or to schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
In your WTMJ 5-day forecast today, partly cloudy, cool and breezy, a high of 56 at the lake, 67 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 58 at the lake, 65 inland. Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 64 at the lake, 70 inland. For Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 70 at the lake, 74 inland. And then Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 72 at the lake, 78 inland. Right now in Madison, it's 61 degrees. Green Bay, 51. And in Waukesha, it's 57. Milwaukee, it is 51 degrees. I'm Debbie Lazaga, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 9:06.
Breaking down the biggest stories, talking about what really matters, and bringing you the biggest forum to let your voice be heard. Now, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, here's Steve Scaffidi.
Good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday edition, the Hump Day edition, and a special edition because after a long hiatus, she is back. Annie Schwartz, law enforcement communications expert. We got her mic on there. There we go. Yes? No?
It's been so long, I forgot that you push buttons and you do stuff.
Welcome back, Annie.
Thank you so much. Breaking news, I'm not dead. Because
like Francisco Franco, you're not dead.
I'm not dead. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I had some surgery. I had a pretty big surgery in the fall.
You're getting around pretty good now, though.
Oh, my gosh, I look like Dustin Hoffman and Tootsie. It's so dreadful.
You know, they can see you now.
Pardon me?
They can see you now.
That's okay.
On the stream.
That's all right.
Yeah.
If they saw me walk in from parking, then they know
You looked better this week than last week.
Well, I did this for you because I've been using the walker, and when you walk on a walker, people think there's something more wrong with you than when you just use a cane. Right. I have no idea.
Even though it's more stable.
It's absolutely more stable. Mm-hmm. But, last time I was here, there were stairs, there was a little mocking. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do this. But I was 4 months non-weight bearing, and
so what did you have done? Just not that you want to reveal all your medical profile, but
no, what secrets do I have anymore? I had what I'm calling now the Tiger Woods surgery. It is called a subtalar fusion. Dr. Brian Law, God love him, over at Freidert. I have to give him a shout out because I see him Friday, and it's up to him to say, I'm so happy. You're great.
Is this bones?
Yeah, this is a subtalar fusion is when they get in there and they fuse some bones together, and then also they put in some cadaver bones. And I was mad because they wouldn't tell me who it was. I'm like, come on.
I don't think they do that.
They don't. They claim they don't know, and I think that's not true. I wanted to know. Who was it? Was it like somebody who is really a great runner, or
what are you hoping for? Are you trying to get back into athletics or what? You just want to walk properly.
Athletics. I would like to get from the car to the door without someone going, "Oh my God, are you okay?"
Yeah.
No, you know what? It's been a journey, Steve, and I'll tell you, I've learned an awful lot. I've become the absolute soapbox person for ADA accessibility because I had to learn once I got out of the house. I had to learn how to access all the places I go. And it was tough. I'm learning how to walk again. I'm doing pretty good now.
Yeah, you look good this morning coming in.
That's been the last 4 months. And I mean, I all of a sudden I'm getting emails from Paralyzed Veterans of America. And they're sending me emails, and they had a video in one of the emails they sent me. And they said, this is what it's like for our paralyzed veterans to travel by plane.
Yeah.
And I watched that thing and I said, absolutely. It's all the things that you don't think about. Sometimes I think people don't want to hold the door for you because they're like, oh, I don't want her to feel like, and no, hold the door for me. It's okay.
So for you you were out and about you were traveling the world and then to have this surgery, and I saw some of this yesterday. I was getting a Diet Coke at McDonald's. I ran in because the line was, drive-thrus are crazy. That's a whole nother conversation. They're just nuts now. People arguing with the youngsters that are working there. Anyway, so this guy whips into the handicap spot, jumps out of there was nothing wrong with this dude. How are you parking right next to the restaurant in the handicap spot? Have you experienced this as someone who's actually had to utilize some of that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, you have to be careful with that, Steve, because you don't know if there's some kind of a hidden illness. Honestly, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I've seen it, but you can't always tell. I mean, there are people with respiratory issues. There are people with, maybe they're suffering the early stages of MS and they're having a difficult time getting around.
So you're saying I'm unsensitive and uncaring. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no more than usual. I think that see, I'm back. It's good. It's good to be back. Good to be back.
You bring me back to earth is what is happening here.
But no, it really has been a journey, and I think a lot about it's made me think about everything, about injured officers, about our injured veterans that come home. It's a smack in the face when you can't walk. And you were I tell you, you and the station management were great while I was off, and you were so kind. You're like, well, you can come in on the phone.
Yeah.
And I was on such massive painkillers for those first couple of months that would have been. I feel bad because you would have been taken off the air, and they would say, we want Annie to host that show, but she always has to be on the meds because it was a journey.
How do you feel now? Great.
I feel great.
Good.
I feel really good. I am caught up on every movie, every franchise, every Netflix thing. So ask me anything about any of them. The one thing I did not do is Sandy Max begged and pleaded with me to watch Downton Abbey.
Right.
And I failed her. I did not because I kept falling asleep when I.
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh, it's an interesting show.
And it's hard to be her friend if you have not seen it.
Yeah, she's an expert.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, since you've kind of been on hiatus, Sandy Max has emerged as one of the bright stars of WTMJ.
Steve, she has always been a bright star.
She has been.
She has been a bright star.
Undiscovered
for a long
treasure,
time.
and now we know.
Absolutely. She's terrific. She's a class act, has a work ethic like nobody. So
it's great to have her. One of the things
I get jealous when you talk about other women. Stop it.
All right, I will stop. So one of the things that, for new listeners, Annie has been our law enforcement expert for a long time. You worked as a spokesperson for Milwaukee Police Department. You travel the globe now talking about law enforcement communication and how vital that is. And you and I have known each other for quite a while now. And you are part of my success story, teaching me how to react to difficult situations, how to be a better spokesperson, how to be a better talker, communicator. So I thank you for that. But you're kind of our go-to on all the issues related to law enforcement. Not that you're an expert on all of this thing, but you have a good sense, having that life experience, that resume, on how these things shake out. So that's kind of why you're here. So we're going to spend the next 45 minutes kind of talking about some of these issues. There's a lot going on right now.
Steve, there's so much going on. There's always something going on. The sad thing is we're never really at a loss for content when we talk about coming in and spending our hour together on Wednesdays. We're never at a loss because so much is going on. But law enforcement's in a crisis right now. And it's not just law enforcement. My background, by the way, I was not a police officer. I was the one sitting in the SWAT vehicle with a cappuccino, like waiting for the guys with the shields and clear, and then I would go in.
Right.
But what I do know is that communications piece that public safety needs. I work with Crivello Carlson now, a law firm in Milwaukee, and I am their chief communication strategist. So what I get to do is I work with municipalities now. So I'm still going to the police-involved shootings. I'm still dealing with critical incidents. I'm still dealing with all of those things. But I come in during the crisis, and then I leave. But obviously I'm still available to them. So I've kept my finger on the pulse of law enforcement, even though my last law enforcement job was when I was at DOJ. Worked for Attorney General Brad Schimmel, and I left DOJ in 2016.
Yeah, it's that long already.
It's that long already. And I was scared. I started my own consulting business, which is crazy because it's not formal. You usually do it over a cocktail napkin,
Right. Very unofficial.
Very unofficial. I was sitting with Nancy Hernandez in the bar at Capitol Grill, and she said, you can incorporate online. I'm like, yeah. She said, no, do it now. So I got on the phone, and Schwartz Public Strategies was born.
Well, take a break here, but think about this during the break. I want to ask you, we talk about how departments are doing when it comes to communication. Just a general sense of how the country, maybe the world, since you travel all over the world giving this important information, how we're doing on communication from a law enforcement public safety perspective. My guest on Wednesdays, 9 o'clock hour, Annie Schwartz. Quick break. You're listening, of course, to WTMJ.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. The Brewers Radio Network's Lane Grindle sees it all from the broadcast booth.
Down the right field line, this is up, and it is going to fly out of here.
But what's he like off the air?
It's 2023. It's the year of the cheesehead.
Lane Grindle joins Wisconsin's afternoon news every Monday during the Brewers' 2023 campaign.
There'd be nothing better in my life than to be the brother of Lane Grindle.
I did not have a brother, so, John, we can make honorary brothers.
Right here on the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. I love talking about Heiser. I have had the pleasure and the privilege of driving their vehicles for the last 4 years. Absolutely enjoy it. I get to experience all their great brands, Lincoln, Heiser, and Toyota, and Chevrolet, and Cadillac. Well, right now I'm driving a pre-owned. I want to see what that experience was like. Low mileage, 2021 Lincoln Corsair, all-wheel drive. Have had it in all conditions. Handles fine. Great gas mileage, up to 28 on the highway. Comprehensive warranty coverage, 200-point inspection, so you know that you're getting quality when you buy a pre-owned, 24-hour roadside assistance, and how about this? When you pick it up, fuel tank full of fuel, fresh oil, new wiper blades. That's just on top of all the other great stuff they're doing, like no hidden market adjustment fees, always pricing under MSRP. That's all part of the Heiser guarantee, great customer service. Find out more at Heiser.com, Heiser4.com. That's why they say every day, today's your day.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Smooth waters and clear horizons are ahead. The experienced team of advisors at Fox World Travel are ready to uncover your cruising style. Are you sailing off into a Caribbean sunset? Taking in the European charm along riverways? Maybe an exotic expedition or Alaskan cruise are on your bucket list. We'll help you cruise like never before with Royal Caribbean, Holland America, Uniworld Boutique River Cruises, and more. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call a Fox Cruise expert at 866-GO-FOX-GO.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show.
Oh, great to have her back. Annie Schwartz, law enforcement communications experts. So I asked you the question before the break, just before we get to some of the more specific things we want to talk about today. In the area of communication, law enforcement, public safety folks, you talk to them all the time, you're connected, I hear from them all the time. Are they doing a good job, a better job of communicating with the community?
That's a broad question because there are varying degrees of success when it comes to public safety communications. I'll tell you locally, somebody that I see who is doing an amazing job, I say look no further than Chief Aaron Lipsky at the Milwaukee Fire Department. He gets out there. He says we're sorry when they do something wrong. He doesn't hide. I think that he's a great local example of who's doing it, of somebody who's doing it well. Because the toughest thing about communication is owning it when you screw up, and he's been amazing that way.
I completely agree. I had him in studio here to record for Salute to Service, and he was amazing.
He's also, it's not the Aaron Lipsky show, but I can tell you that he's also a great community member. That fire department is a part of the community, and he is I think a big reason for that.
We have all these mass shootings that we talk about in a lot of different ways, from gun violence to the role of law enforcement, public safety, the community reaction, all of those things. In that area, how is law enforcement doing when they react to the shooting? It's often within an hour of the shooting. Is there a guidebook? I know you've talked to departments across the world about this. Is there a guidebook now that says this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do?
I've even written a couple of them. I wrote one for the National Association of Attorneys General. What do attorney general offices do when they have to manage a mass casualty incident or a natural disaster or something like that? But I think that we're getting better at it when it comes to public safety. And I say public safety because I include law enforcement and the fire service and EMS. But law enforcement's the one that has really had to do all the heavy lifting. They, I think, are realizing, and this is most definitely a George Floyd thing, that for those of you playing at home, that was May 25th of 2020. Mm-hmm. And so, in policing, we refer a lot of times to post 9/11 policing or post Ferguson policing, and I think now we are talking about post George Floyd policing. There's even post Memphis, not really policing, but information release
for the public. What does that difference feel like?
The difference feels like you no longer have, in law enforcement, you no longer have the option really to wait. That was always law enforcement's fallback. It's under investigation. We can't talk to you right now. Thanks for coming. And the public is saying, not okay. Not okay. If you've got video, if you've got body-worn camera, if you've got squad video, a lot of times, the public is out there. I'm holding up my cell phone. This is the camera now. This is the news now. And so if that's out there, if citizen video is out there and you're not out there talking about what people are looking at, then you're failing. I mean, that was the great example of that is in Greenfield when Adon Franco was shot. And the only video that was out there was, because the investigation was ongoing, was the video that a bystander shot from far away. It was ring camera video from far away. And that guy was giving his narrative on what happened. And when the chief saw that, when Chief Jay Johnson saw that in Greenfield, he's like, it's not okay. I have an officer that might die. And we've got to get out there and say something.
So what's the right answer? We know that Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission is dealing with some of these video questions right now. What is the right answer for the public wants to know? We have an insatiable appetite, immediacy. We want to know exactly what happened right away, as much as we can tell by this video. What is the right answer for law enforcement? What is the right answer for the community?
Well, so do we. We want to know immediately what happened. But you have to know that a lot of times first reports are wrong. We have to get in there. We have to figure out what's going on. I do think that there's an opportunity for, and I say the CEO, I mean the chief or the sheriff, to get out in front of the media within a short amount of time after an incident is being reported and say, I quite literally have nothing I'm able to share right now. We're still trying to figure out what happened. We know you have questions. We have questions. But here's the process. I think that's something law enforcement can do. I think we can tell people what the process is. I think when we tell people that we're conducting an internal investigation when there's some kind of a story about wrongdoing, I think that we need to get out there and say, and here's what that looks like. We're going to interview, eventually we're going to interview that officer, but we're also going to talk to any citizen witnesses. We're going to look into we're going to review personnel files. We're going to talk to other people that may have worked with this person. So, there's a process. And you can teach people about the process without giving away the store. And that's something I want to see. I really hope to see law enforcement doing more of. I think they're getting better when it comes to getting out in front and saying, all right, here's what we know. And I'm sorry it's not more that I can share with you.
And you were inside Milwaukee Police Department. How are they doing?
And she pauses. I think that the Milwaukee Police Department is doing worlds better than when I first joined in 2004 when it comes to public information. I think you just had Efrain Cornejo on yesterday.
Yes.
To talk about Ben 80.
Mm-hmm. Officer Ben 80, who is the wellness officer, and the handler of Crush, who was a sensation in the building yesterday.
I'm sure. Now, why didn't I not hear Crush say anything? A little disappointed in you, Steve.
Crush doesn't bark that much.
You don't have a future in television. If you cannot interview the dog.
That's on me. That's on me.
That's totally on you. I would get the dog to talk.
The producers were having a blast with Crush.
That's true. Well, if ever there was a place that needed a comfort dog, it's the media, right? It's a newsroom.
It's a WTMJ, yes.
Well, no, I mean, just a newsroom in general. You know what people forget, Steve? And I'm not an apologist for either the police or the media, but I've worked with both. I think sometimes people forget. Now, we know the trauma that is involved with people who are directly involved in an incident. I never really thought about myself feeling any trauma after I was involved in either, covering an incident as a reporter or as a public information officer. And you ignore that because you're exposed to some of the same things, but you just got to go on, got to give the information, got to go. And that's something that I've come to realize. When I joined the police department in 2004, we never said anything about officer wellness. We never talked about any of that.
That was the suck it up era.
Suck it up, buttercup. And you didn't tell anybody that you were feeling any kind of way about an incident because you were afraid your supervisor would find out. Maybe you'd get taken off of a cool detail you were on. Maybe people wouldn't want to work with you. Those are very real things that happened and still happen in law enforcement nationwide. But back to your question about how MPD is doing, I think MPD is doing the best they can in an era where everybody's assuming something is bad from the get-go.
She is Annie Schwartz. We'll take a break here. We got the bottom of the hour news coming. Anne's going to stick around for the next half hour. We're got lots more to talk about, lots happening in law enforcement, as we know. I love to have you back, and this is great to kind of get back to the consistency of having you talking about law enforcement. It doesn't get talked about enough.
No, and I like coming on to talk with you about it because it's more than just here are the shootings that happened last night. Here's the bad headlines, because there's a story behind the headlines. Grateful to talk about that when it comes to law enforcement.
Absolutely. Quick break here on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Eric Bilstead from Wisconsin's Morning News for J.D. Griffiths. For more than 75 years, J.D. Griffiths has been a leader in detached garage builds and premier garage doors. My wife and I have a house about 20 years old. We knew it was time. It needed an upgrade. The doors in the front of the house just looked a little dingy, banged up, so we went to jdgriffiths.com. That's the website, jdgriffiths.com. We got a free at-home estimate, and away we went. Just a few weeks later, brand new doors, and they look great. We were able to customize. We got a great look there. We have some windows now, so I get some nice natural light. And the garage doors are just one of the many things J.D. Griffiths does. They also, remember, detached garage builds as well, and they'll even service issues you're having with your garage doors currently. J.D. Griffiths and jdgriffiths.com. Go to the website now. Get your free at-home estimate set up. J.D. Griffiths and jdgriffiths.com.
Your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Your pain is likely due to a wear and tear process called osteoarthritis. Now, when you combine that with being a little overweight or not being as active as you'd like to be, you get into a downward pain spiral. At Rejuvenex, we control pain by precisely targeting and treating the areas where your pain lives, like shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. With our powerful FDA-approved treatments that cushion and lubricate the affected areas to deliver long-lasting pain relief. Now, like maintenance on a car, to maintain your relief, our team of physicians will follow up with you roughly every 6 to 18 months. My name is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics. Rejuvenex is in-network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief. Really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Annie Schwartz and me in studio here at WTMJ from our Avenue Studios in beautiful downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Annie's going to stick around for the next half hour. We've got news here, and then we got lots more to talk about. I want to really get back to this wellness thing because officers here and elsewhere are dealing with a lot of horrific realities, and there's less of them doing that hard job. There's more interactions that are, as you said, Annie, people are recording with their phones, so there's instant analysis, often wildly inaccurate. That reality has changed for law enforcement, public safety folks, and that's something we got to figure out.
That's changed everything, because one of the things that's interesting is when people started complaining and saying we want to see the video faster, we have to be able to tell people what they're looking at. And I think that's one thing that's very difficult for officers is the officer was there. They know what they saw. And then all of the people that want to look at the video and take it apart bit by bit, these critical incidents don't happen in slow motion. These officers are traumatized after these things happen. These officers aren't going back to the station and high-fiving each other because you shot somebody. It doesn't work like that. The idea that you have just taken a life is a burden that those officers are going to take with them forever.
Officer Wellness after the break with Annie Schwartz. Right now it's 9:31 here at WTMJ from our Breaking News Center. Debbie Lazaga.
Thanks, Steve. Death investigation in Fond du Lac after a body was found in the woods behind a home. Someone doing yard work discovered the remains Tuesday afternoon near Scott and Van Dyne. The identity of the body is yet unknown. 3 Riverside University high school students were arrested following several fights at the school on Tuesday. One student struck a police officer who had responded. A new Marquette Law School poll national survey finds that 41% of adults approve of the way the U.S. Supreme Court is doing its job, while 59% disapprove. This is a 6% drop from January. Chief Justice John Roberts is defending the integrity of the High Court, speaking at the American Law Institute Gala in Washington last night. He pledged to take new steps to ensure the justices adhere to the highest ethical standards. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now, the Dow is down 190 points, the NASDAQ is down 120, and the S&P is down 30 points. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. And taking a look at your roads and through Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Right now, looking pretty good. The only issue we've got up on the board right now is an accident westbound 94 just past the county line. The cars are up against the median wall, so they're not even in traffic. So if anything, we're just seeing a little bit of building volume right past that scene. Everything else around the area is looking good.
Traffic is sponsored by Smart Spaces. Adapt to the modern workplace. SmartSpacesWI.com.
How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
Creating technology, great culture, spaces that people really want to come to, attract talent, and keep that talent.
SmartSpacesWI.com.
And checking your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, partly cloudy, cool and breezy, a high of 56 at the lake, 67 inland. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 58 at the lake, 65 inland. For Friday, mostly sunny, 64 at the lake, 70 inland. Saturday, mostly sunny again with a high of 70 and 74 inland. And for Sunday, mostly sunny with a high of 72 at the lakefront, 78 inland. Right now, in Appleton, it's 54 degrees. Mukwonago, 61. And in Milwaukee, it's 51 degrees. I'm Debbie Lazaga, Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 9:33.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
I'm Susan Hiller with Howard Gleason from Hiller Ford. May is our anniversary month. My grandfather started Hiller Ford back in 1954. I'm proud to say that we've kept up with his belief in quality care and fair prices for our customers.
That's been proven by winning Ford's President's Award 18 times for customer satisfaction in both sales and service.
We now offer complimentary pickup and delivery for all our service customers. Stop in and see why so many people love to buy from Hiller Ford.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. When it comes to memory care and assisted living, you want a team that knows compassion and empathy. That's Azura memory care, and assisted living. I know, my grandma's in assisted living. I have an aunt, one of my favorite aunts, right now in memory care. At Azura, they specialize in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. They provide additional daily living assistance for those with cognitive decline. 14 locations in Wisconsin, AzuraLiving.com, Wisconsin-based, family-owned. The teams I trust are at Azura. AzuraLiving.com.
Gear up for spring with a trip to Blaine's Farm and Fleet. We've got an unbeatable selection of products to keep your projects moving along, like 2.5 gauge 4-point red brand barbed wire on sale $109.99. Pick up the versatile 1.5 ton dump trailer from King Cutter. It's perfect for moving or hauling. On sale $31.99.99. Rewards members pay $30.99.99. And strengthen your yard while you kill weeds with Gordon's Liquid Weed and Feed. 2.5 gallons, just $56.99. That's genuine value from Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
I'm Susan Hiller with Howard Gleason from Hiller Ford on Highway 100 in Franklin. May is our anniversary month, and we're celebrating with some really great deals.
That's for sure, Susan. We've got brand new F-150s starting at just $49,995. We've got over 50 2022 and 2023 F-150s, all priced to move fast and ready to go.
You should stop in and take advantage of our great anniversary deals. And while you're here, find out why so many people love to buy from Hiller Ford.
Now, more of the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Talking public safety with Annie Schwartz, law enforcement communications expert, friend of mine and friend of the program.
Hey, where's my song?
Oh, well, producer Charlie, if Brandon's out today, he probably is not aware that Annie has a song.
I have a song. I got walk-on music, you bet.
Mm-hmm. We'll rectify
or
that.
limp-on music now, but it'll be walk-on music.
We'll rectify that next break. How about that? Girl is on Fire is the song. Who sings that? I don't even know.
Alicia Keys.
That's right. Yeah. So now producer Charlie's
humiliated,
furiously trying to find that.
And humiliated publicly.
He didn't know.
No, he didn't. And
he's a guest.
It's okay. So am I.
Yes, you are a guest, and you deserve your walk-up. All right, we were talking about officer wellness. You mentioned Officer Ben 80, who we honored yesterday for our Salute to Service. Tremendous young officer. I'm always impressed by these people because they're often very young. They're extremely humble. But when we had him in last week, and then we had him in yesterday, and we obviously can't play everything that we recorded last week. When you talk about trauma and the things that officers see, Officer 80 and other officers that I will present this week, there's no easy way to react to that, even when you're supposed to be conditioned to that scene. It's always hard to witness, hard to deal with. And as you said before, forever until now, there was nothing for these officers. They just had to deal with it, suck it up.
Well, you know what? There has been for a long time at least in the Milwaukee Police Department, that's where my experience was the POST team, the police officer support team. And that was tough because, again, you have to think about the times. You don't want to go to a peer support team of the peers that you might have to work with because it's not really conducive to being truly honest about how you're feeling. They've rectified that. You talked yesterday about George Papachristou, and he is just, I can't say enough about him. He's a former police officer. He was a detective, and now he is the chaplain.
He's very well respected, not just here, elsewhere.
Oh, he's very well respected, and there's a feeling when you go and you talk to George that it almost feels like a priest. He'd laugh about that probably. There are people that think he is a priest, which is pretty funny. But it's, he gives them the comfort to be able to talk. And he tries to work with the officers to say, you cannot, I know he doesn't say it this way, but it's about assuaging that survivor guilt that a lot of cops feel, depending on the incident. I mean, there are so many different incidents that have happened where you hear about the officer, but there were other people there. There were other people there, and they're suffering, and they are expected to get back to work. And you can take off for a few days. If that's what you need, but you have to come back, and oftentimes you have to come back to the same place where something happened. So the trauma can't be minimized that officers are going through, and I think that we're doing a good job, a better job in the law enforcement profession. I do these symposiums for the Department of Justice, the U.S. Department of Justice, all over the world. And you know what the big subject is this year? And I don't mean just in the U.S. It's officer wellness. Because in a lot of those countries, you go to a country that has a pretty serious macho culture, and you talk to them about what did it feel like, or are things okay at home? And you're talking about a cultural issue.
Interesting thing about this is, who would have thought post George Floyd that one of the takeaways would be officer wellness, right? Because that was all about how the interaction works between community and police. But officer wellness is part of that as well, as they were traumatized by these events. Of course, they had to be.
If you don't deal with an officer's trauma, if you don't allow that officer to deal with it, you don't have a very effective officer, and you have an officer who could be a time bomb. And I think about the years I started covering the Milwaukee police as a reporter covering law enforcement in 1987. I'm 100. But, I started in 1987, and that I still remember when the idea of community-oriented policing came out. And I remember officers saying, I'm not a social worker. I'm not interested. And look where we are now. Look where we are now, that is now the recommended approach, is de-escalation, is trying to empathize more, trying to work through with people that you're in contact with, whatever issue is upsetting them. Mental health, look how many crimes now, Steve, that we can link to mental health issues that we never used to talk about.
Yes, that's all we talk about now. The problem I have is we're not making the corrections on the mental health side to lower that number. One of the interesting things about all these conversations about wellness is there are officers that are challenged to work harder, less resources, more situations to deal with. I guess my question is, has the profile or the resume of a new officer changed in, let's say, the last 20 years? Is it a different kind of person now? Are they more aware of these kinds of things?
I think they're more aware because we talk about it openly, more aware. I don't think it's 20 years. I think it's maybe the last, 5 or 10 years. I keep forgetting how long I've been gone, and it seems like, I left last year. Well, no, it's been a chunk of years. It's been 8 years that I've been gone. So, I think that we struggle when we talk about officer wellness because it's connected to so many other things. I can tell you that when I'm hearing these discussions, and this really does make sense, I promise, when I'm hearing these discussions going on up in Madison about shared revenue, about taking money away from the city, I think about, what they're talking about doing to the officer pension system.
And what's your reaction to that?
It makes me insane because we're talking about officer wellness, but we are asking we're asking fewer officers to do more. Recruiting is not a hootenanny right now. It is hard.
It's a night and day difference. I just talked to a chief the other day. It used to be they get hundreds of applications for a couple jobs. Now they have to actively recruit for an open position.
Nobody wants, who wants to do this job? Especially when you look at I hate to use the city of Milwaukee as an example, but I live here and I've worked here. So I look at the fire and legislation, and I think that that's something that the Milwaukee Police Association has been doing a great job getting out there and saying. They're saying, look, we are out there advocating for our members. We are out there saying, do you know how you're decimating this department and our ability to respond? Yet on the other side of the room, we're talking about how great it is that we're getting this conference and this convention and this event and this thing. Who do you think polices that? Who do you think is in charge of making sure that the millions of people that you're trying to get to come to something are safe?
The public, I think, understands the importance of police and law enforcement and public safety in general. Certainly life-saving, EMS, all the great work, dispatchers, all the great work they do. I hope that on the police side of things, the public understands the equation doesn't work if we have less. They can be superheroes, each and every one of them. The equation's not going to work if you're talking about crime and violence if we have less officers. And whether it's legislatively, whether it's fire and police commission, whether it's local leaders, mayors, whoever it is, I don't see how the math works. Less is not more when it comes to policing. I've been consistent on that from day one.
So true. And, you know, you had a front row seat for what happens when we need more police than we have in our local jurisdiction. We depend on each other to help each other in cases of mass casualty incidents or greater incidents. Intellectually, Steve, I think people know they appreciate the police, they appreciate law enforcement, all those things. But what I think that people are not really coming to grips with is there's a cost to that. And when we're talking about, you know, increasing sales tax, when we're talking about those issues, I you had Tracy on yesterday talking a little bit about that. Tracy Johnson, she comes from the business side, the private sector side. I think of those things in terms of the public sector side. When we're having those discussions, those aren't theoretical. There will be less police officers if people don't pay attention to what's happening in Madison.
She is Annie Schwartz, my guest, 9 o'clock hour going forward. She'll be back in her regular spot. There's a lot of questions, a couple comments real quick. A lot of people saying, welcome back, Annie. There's a really specific one from John Zoltke, retired chief, Milwaukee Fire Department. Asked Annie if she'd like a picture of her 20-some years ago when we took her out on the fireboat Phoenix.
Oh, am I throwing up in that picture? Because
I don't have the picture.
I would absolutely love that. John has my permission to send that to you.
All right, and I'll get it to you.
Oh God, it's just going to be awful. It's going to be like 40 pounds ago. It's going to be, you know, one of those things. But that's nice. It's nice to hear.
Nice. Pippa from South Carolina. We have listeners everywhere now.
Wow.
Says glad she's doing well. Annie is a gem in our lives from Diane. Great show, Annie and Steve from the 414. So love for Annie Schwartz on this.
Well, that's nice.
On this Wednesday. Quick break here on WTMJ. Join us.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 2.62 to 3.5 ounce spices or 0.77 to 2.12 ounce grinders, McCormick Grill Mate spices or grinders, 2 for $4. 64 ounce bottle Indian Summer Apple Juice or Cider, 2 for $4. 128 ounce bottle Hawaiian Punch Juice Drink, $3.49. 56 to 67.5 ounce bottle Extra Laundry Detergent, $2.99.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience from Century Foods. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 26th.
The Fireside Theater in Fort Atkinson presents the world's greatest live tribute show, Legends in Concert, direct from London, featuring tributes to Elton John, Freddie Mercury, Adele, Rod Stewart, and Dusty Springfield. These incredible artists, backed by a live band, deliver one of the most spectacular concerts you'll ever see. Every ticket to the Fireside includes a superb dinner prepared by award-winning chefs and a chance to visit their spectacular gift shops. Order your tickets now. Call 800-477-9505 or visit firesidetheater.com. See Legends in Concert, direct from London, live on stage, June 1st through July 16th, exclusively at the Fireside Theater.
Earn points every time you shop with Fleet Rewards. 500 points gets you a $5 reward. It's free and easy to sign up, in-store or online. Sign up today and start saving with Fleet Rewards at Fleet Farm.
I don't want to go to bed at night dreading waking up in the morning knowing that I'm going to feel like a rusty lawn chair getting out of bed and getting opened up and not being able to really move for a couple hours really throughout the day.
For former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter and those dealing with daily aches and pains, QC Kinetics regenerative pain treatments are a game changer, providing long-lasting relief.
Go into a specific joint, a specific region, and then help promote that healing process using your own body's mechanisms to heal. I mean, that's been something that's pretty powerful, and there's no surgery, there's no downtime.
QC Kinetics natural treatments help the body heal and restore itself. No more rusty lawn chair.
It's no surprise to see people being willing to try this first, especially when it has such great results.
Pain relief the natural way. QC Kinetics. Call today for your complimentary consultation. Find out if you're a good candidate for treatment.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
This is the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Oh, see, you ask and we deliver. Even producer Charlie, filling in for producer Brandon, has identified the proper walk-up music.
Charlie, you can live.
From the text line, the old National Bank Talking text line, when I was a kid in the 60s, MPD officers came to my classroom at least once a year, and I recall them remarking that very few officers ever fired their weapon during their entire career. How times have changed.
I don't know what the stats are on that. That's something I'm going to look up and maybe bring back the next time that we're together, because I think that that stat has got to have changed.
You would think.
You would think. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I would be interested in surveys and questions with current police academy classes or recruits that are out their first year or two. Are they more reticent or more willing to use their weapon, to draw their weapon? There was a time when the Milwaukee Police Department, when they were keeping track of use of force statistics, they would call anyone who unholstered their weapon. That was a use of force. There were officers that in their careers maybe never even unholstered their weapon. And, you know, you hear people who get stopped for a traffic stop, and they say the officer unsnapped their holster and it scared me and it was bad. And I'm thinking, well, so I get that part of it. I also get the part where people say, you know, comply with the officer. But we also have, I mean, that officer is worried about the last ambush that happened. And by the way, the last ambush that happened was this week in Lexington, Kentucky. We lost a deputy who traffic stop. That's the mindset that officers are walking up to the car with, knowing that this could be a fatal encounter.
Which leads me to another interaction, and that's what the texter kind of referred to it in sort of a different way, is the SRO, School Resource Officer. I've been very passionate about this in my time on radio. I don't see what the problem is. If there's a discipline problem in school, I think an officer can help to alleviate some of that. And we've created this, I think, fake narrative where the police officers are the problem. It's some sort of oppressive presence in school. I don't think so. And you were talking about legislation earlier. The state is maybe saying to local communities, you will have SROs in your schools. And I enthusiastically endorse that.
I look at it on a case-by-case basis, but I'll tell you what we lose when we lose officers in our schools. We lose a very important intelligence function. We lose the ability for officers to really have an intel function on what's happening with the youth. What are people talking about? Is there there are crimes that I know of, that I remember from my time at MPD, things that were broken up because officers got information in those school settings. So I see it as a you're losing an intelligence function. However, you can't say that in one breath and then say, but we have enough officers to do what we have already. I mean, this is the shell game or the chess board that we're playing with in the state right now with law enforcement, specifically in the city of Milwaukee.
Right.
It's a rough go.
But the way that a lot of cities have rectified that is they've balanced the cost. For example, my city, it's shared between the school district and the city, 50-50 for the officers. That's a reasonable common sense approach. I'm so passionate about this. I'm honoring a school resource officer on tomorrow's show for Salute to Service, because I think it matters, and we'll hear from that officer why it's so important in a very critical incident that happened in Waukesha. So you can't tell me this doesn't have real-life ramifications, because it does. They hear things, what you just said. They see things through the eyes of the students. And by the way, if you're concerned about how police and community interact, why not start when they're younger?
What are the ages of the suspects, Steve? Have you been noticing that when they're pulling these people out of cars? The car fled from police.
Under 16,
15, 14. I mean, so waiting is not working. I think that exposure has to happen, and if the exposure that they've had is negative in their neighborhoods, we got a chance to make it positive in the classroom or in the school setting.
Is law enforcement excited about the school resource officer program as I am?
Some law enforcement is, yes. I'll tell you that law enforcement believes, of the people that I've spoken with, and it's around the state, it's not just here in southeastern Wisconsin, believe that what I said before, that the intelligence function is invaluable, and they have lost that. They have lost that ability. Do you think that a kid's gonna walk up to a police officer in his neighborhood? No. Now, in the school setting, there are ways for officers to more easily mix with the kids. I'm going to, and we can talk about this one next week, but I think that the return of the Police Athletic League is perhaps one of the ways that we're trying to get back to that. I do have to say quickly before we leave, I know that we just had Police Week out in Washington, D.C. I got a lovely note here from Mary Kay Balchunas, who's listening this morning. She made the ultimate sacrifice. She gave us her son, Jay, who was killed in the line of duty, and she still continues to work on the officer wellness issue. She's a chaplain, and she talks to officers. She tries to work this wellness piece with them also. And
I love that story. Great people doing great work.
Absolutely, and she's incredible.
Annie Schwartz, pleasure to have you back in studio. We'll have you every Wednesday, 9 o'clock hour. It's my thrill, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
I'll be back. It's all better now.
I'll be back.
But don't make fun of the walking. If you see me out there.
You look great today. You were like walking like a dancer coming in here.
That's Jack Lemmon and Some Like It Hot, definitely in the heels. But I'm trying. I'm really working on it.
All right. The news is next here on WTMJ.
You're listening to The Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
There are heroes among us who run toward danger rather than away from it. We call them first responders. This is Steve Scaffidi, proud to tell you WTMJ is partnering with Educators Credit Union to honor police officers, firefighters, and countless others who work every day to protect our families and loved ones. Tune in all this week as we recognize these heroes during Salute to Service Month.
You know, we're just regular people just like everybody else, and we truly want to make a positive impact.
5 special nominees will share their incredible stories during my show.
If you need a place for new home interior ideas, then you have to come talk to us. Our on-staff decorators know furniture, home decor, and a lot more. And they're not only creative, but also very willing to help you make great choices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Stop in often, because our inventory changes daily.
Design Exchange.
Previously, it has been gently loved, but here you'll only find very well-conditioned premium home decor items that you likely won't find elsewhere. Distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original art, and other tasteful home decor at a value. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Cut through the clutter with Axiom, the weekly newsletter from Annex Wealth Management. Subscribe today for 7 insights built and delivered to you every Sunday. It'll help you navigate the markets and the things that affect your money. The Axiom. Sign up at annexwealth.com.
For the last 16 years, we've been hosting private tours throughout the city's most delicious eateries, iconic breweries, and cultural neighborhoods. I'm Teresa from Milwaukee Food and City Tours. Let us plan your next team outing on our Brady Street Lunch Tour. Kick off your besties bachelorette weekend with a Bloody Mary brunch or on our super fun Tacos and Tequila Tour. And celebrate your next birthday on our famous Pizza Bus Tour. Schedule your next outing with a private bus or walking tour at MilwaukeeFoodTours.com.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Wisconsin Harley-Davidson is ready for summer. Are you? Join Wisconsin Harley-Davidson on May 27th for their annual honor celebration from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy a ride to place flags at the Wisconsin Memorial Cemetery and return back for a day of honoring our veterans. Not a rider? That is okay. Wisconsin Harley-Davidson will have music, food, and so much more. Like and follow Wisconsin Harley-Davidson on Facebook, Instagram, and online at WISHD.com. Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, your destination dealer.
Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors. Certainty Diamond Level Select Shingle Masters. The best of the best. And that's why you can feel confident in choosing us to install your new roof.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
You've heard about Purple mattresses. Try it before you buy it at Steinhoffel's.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Your hometown hub for everything that matters. The latest news, traffic, weather, and sports on Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
10:01, 52 degrees. The high today is 67 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Eric Bilstead. We're hearing now from Packers president Mark Murphy on how the details will look for an NFL draft to be held in Green Bay. The league announcing earlier this week that the 2025 draft, which is generally in April, will take place in Green Bay. So what does that mean as far as the weather is concerned?
Peter O'Reilly from the league, he and I were talking. I said, Peter, what if it snows? He goes, that would be great.
Yeah, Murphy admitting that they would love it if it snowed. They know they have the snow removal opportunities in Green Bay. Plus, if the league pushes this outside, it could make for a very picturesque scene. So that's being discussed, but no details yet have been solidified there. As for moving forward into something bigger at Lambeau Field, could a Super Bowl ever come? Murphy says no.
As much as we would love to host a Super Bowl here, that ain't happening. So we're going to play in as many as we can, but this is the biggest NFL event that we can have here.
And everyone's going to need a place to stay.
The closest hotel would be Lodge Kohler, just 100 yards from Lambeau Field. Destination Kohler General Manager Sean Dortman tells WTMJ that won't be their only hotel to benefit.
Given how close our other properties are, it's easily drivable market, so opportunity for our entire brand to participate.
Dortman says she's just beginning to gear up for the event, working on plans to energize the Titletown district before spring 2025.
I would watch for more information to come public as the community prepares for this size of an event.
Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis expected to announce his run for president tonight. ABC's Jonathan Carl.
Plenty of money and name recognition, Ron DeSantis begins his campaign as the most formidable opponent to the current frontrunner, Donald Trump. He teased his announcement overnight with a short video tweeted by his wife, Casey. But DeSantis' campaign team says the official announcement will come with an audio-only discussion on Twitter with Elon Musk. The first campaign appearance not planned until next week.
The Secret Service says a 19-year-old from St. Louis, Sai Kandula, rammed his U-Haul truck into a barrier only blocks from the White House earlier this week. He then got out, displayed a Nazi flag, and later told police he wanted to kill the president and seize power. Now he's due in court. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
This report's sponsored by Mr. Holland's Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit MrHollandsHeatingandAir.com.
Sometimes you don't appreciate what you've got until it's gone. Like when your AC stops and conks out on the hottest day of the year. Of course, when that happens, Mr. Holland's talented team of technicians will be ready to rock and roll to repair your sickly system. But why chance it? This is your opportunity to be proactively prepared with the world's greatest tune-up from Mr. Holland's Home Services. We calibrate, lubricate, and recombobulate all the moving parts to ensure cool air is blowing when the thermometer is glowing. Or maybe you would benefit from a brand new, high-efficiency comfort system that's strong as a bull but quiet as a church mouse. With low monthly payments and a 10-year warranty, it's a prime time to upgrade your comfort. Whether it's AC service, repair, or a brand new unit, call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you don't want this summer to be a bummer, we can help.
A wiser way to build your wealth.
A wiser way to build your wealth starts with choosing a financial planning firm that is fee only, because it means they work for you. Fee-only firms like Financial Strategies, Inc. don't work for a bank or brokerage firm or an insurance company or mutual fund company, because we don't want our decisions for your best interests compromised in any way. We work for you, and only in your best interest. And fee-only means the success we care about most is yours. Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee-only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm. And I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
The Brewers shoot for a series win, and it's been a while when they tee it up with the Astros this afternoon at American Family Field. Adrian Hauser gets the starting spot at noon. Catch the pregame coverage to kick things off at 11:30 right here on 620 WTMJ. NBA playoffs last night. Only teams in the East remain active because Boston topped Miami. The Heat still leads 3-1 with the series shifting back to Boston for Game 5 tomorrow night. On the Stanley Cup playoff scene, Las Vegas now leads Dallas 3-0 in the semifinals out west. Tonight it's Game 4 between Florida and Carolina with the Panthers up 3-0 and looking for a berth in the Cup Finals. And the Packers have 2 days of OTAs in the books. They get a breather today before wrapping things up again on Thursday. Bob Brainerd, WTMJ Sports.
From the WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Center, 94 eastbound, Highway 16 all the way into downtown is looking good in. Should be a 17-minute ride. 4145 South, Highway Q to the Zoo is delay-free. It's 15. 43 southbound, no problem. Brown Deer Road into downtown, and 94 north looking good from Layton into the city. That's on time at 7.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Mazda Traffic Tip Line at 414-238-9329.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy, cool and breezy today. A high of 67 inland, 56 is the high at the lake today. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 45. For Thursday, sunny, a high of 65 inland. Friday, a high of 70. Saturday, 74 is the high. Sunny all of these days as well. Sunday, sunny, high of 78. Looking good on Memorial Day Monday as well. Right now in Madison, 62 degrees. In Milwaukee, 52. I'm Eric Bilstead. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Breaking down the biggest stories, talking about what really matters, and bringing you the biggest forum to let your voice be heard. Now, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, here's Steve Scaffidi.
Thank you, Charlie. Producer Charlie filling in for producer Brandon today. What if I told you, what if I said a very old, the oldest, in fact, civil rights organization said, don't want you to go to Florida. Don't want you to move to Florida. Don't want you to visit Florida. Don't want you to spend your hard-earned dollars there. What would you say to that? I made it my show poll today. You can find it on Twitter at 620WTMJ or WTMJ Steve. And it is an interesting reflection on the actions of leaders, in this case, Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, is also, I think as of today, he's going to announce that, and if he hasn't already, on Twitter, along with Elon Musk, the owner, CEO, big shot in charge of the twits, his candidacy for President of the United States, Republican side, nomination. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has challenged the status quo when it comes to what's taught in schools, relationship between, I think, what is still Florida's biggest employer, which is the Disney Corp, Disney/ESPN. We see many changes in the curriculum of high schools, elementary schools, universities, when it comes to how you teach African American studies, diversity, equity, inclusion programs. Well, the oldest civil rights group in the nation, if you didn't know, is the NAACP, actually went as far as issuing an advisory. And it basically, and this is a direct quote, because of hostile treatment of black Americans, they've issued their own travel advisory. Now, the government is really the sole institution that can issue travel advisories, governments, I should say. But my question is this: would this advisory cause you to change your travel plans? A decision to not go to Florida for spring break or summer fun, all the great beaches. I was a resident of Florida in the 80s, enjoyed it. I will tell you this. Oh, by the way, I gave you a few possible answers. Would you change your travel plans? Yes, don't feel welcome. 30% of you, which is a big number. It's a large number, bigger than I thought it would be. No, I go where I want to, 60%. And I got a lot of comments, which I'll get to probably in the second segment, this half hour. So here's some things about Florida you should know. Third largest state in the country. That actually I didn't know until I read that. After years of decline, as of last December, which is not that long ago, 6 months, Florida is the fastest growing state in the country, first time since 1957. Increased almost 2%. It's a lot of people. You want to know what the second was? This surprised the heck out of me. Idaho. Never would have guessed that. And I think there's a real political reason why that is, but that's a topic for a different day. So here's some facts about Florida. So NAACP, and if you want to join us, by the way, 855-616-1620. The question is simple. Would you change your travel plans? Would you just change your decision to move to Florida? A state, by the way, that has no income tax, no state tax. Something I've advocated for here in the state of Wisconsin. So if you look at the numbers, I think people's perception of Florida is it's largely white seniors. That's not really true anymore. It has one of the largest concentrations of black Americans, 17% as of 2020. It's got a Hispanic population. Race and ethnicity is the numbers, 26%. With whites, chief identifier, at least by the people they asked, 54%. So think about those numbers when you're having this conversation. This isn't like a lily white state saying, we're going to make the rules tough if you don't like them. This is a state that has pretty widespread diversity across many of its major cities. That being said, is it a valid question? Is it a valid advisory that the NAACP has put out? There's no legal weight to this. They're just saying, we don't like their treatment of black Americans. 855-616-1620. Interesting arguments. When a state has said, we don't want things taught this way, that has offended a large number of black Americans who say, hold on a second. Are you whitewashing our history, our collective history, at the expense and at the treatments of those who look differently? It's a fair question. It's certainly an organization that has had controversy in the past. Here's what I'll tell you about it. As much as people think, and I have 30% saying it would impact them, I don't see it as being more of a press stunt than an actual game changer. Does it make sense? I just don't see that happening. Not going to change spring break plans. I don't think it's going to change people's plans to go see Disney and Mickey and Minnie. It's not going to do that. It's an interesting look at how we deal with race in our country, where a state and a governor, now a candidate for president, has said, we don't like how we teach these things. We want to tailor the curriculum so that it matches our ideas. In this case, a conservative, white governor in a state that is very diverse. Mike joins us from Illinois. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I am good on this Wednesday. What do you think?
Yes, thanks. So first of all, to answer the question, I would absolutely not change my travel plans. Florida is still a great state for tourism, weather, of course, things to do. And certainly if I was going to move there, just for those reasons, plus the no state income tax would get me to move there as well.
Mm-hmm.
The NAACP, I don't consider a civil rights organization anymore. They were when they first started. There was a need for it. I think that they are more of a shakedown organization where they try to get companies and other groups to acquiesce to them. Otherwise, they will protest and get money from those companies so they don't get protested. I don't think this is legitimate. I think it is political, trying to hurt Ron DeSantis right when he's about to announce his bid for presidency. But I'll just state it again. I would not change any travel plans whatsoever.
All right. Thanks for the call, Mike. Jay wants to weigh in from Waukesha. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Hi, Steve, long-time listener, big fan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just got a quick thought on that. And, while I don't agree with the NAACP's advisory on that, I can empathize with it. And that is because there are certain places where the media has, from what I've seen, influenced my decisions to whether I would travel to San Francisco, Minneapolis, Detroit. While that might not be a popular tourist destination, it's what you're influenced by and what you is going to be, a place that you feel safe at. And like I say, while I don't agree with NAACP, I could see why there would be those that would heed their advisory.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jay. Thanks for the loyal listening as well. Look, as much as I think this is going to have zero effect on tourism, zero effect on people deciding to make the move to Florida, because the trend is they're doing that. Fastest growing state in the nation. And last time I checked, DeSantis has been governor for a couple of years. He's been around. The state shows no signs of bending to a more liberal, progressive agenda. They are actually showing signs, led by Ron DeSantis, led by conservatives, of going in the opposite direction. It's an amazing test case, by the way, of where we're at as a country. Growing diversity, hardening of positions on the social side. The agendas of the parties filtering all the way down, in the case of Florida, to a relationship between the state's largest employer, Disney, and the governor. 855-616-1620. Still time to jump in. What do you think? Would it change your plans to travel, to move to Florida, based on an advisory from the NAACP? They are a civil rights organization. I know that Mike alluded to some of the more recent machinations of that group. And they are very political, obviously, as in most organizations are now, I think to the detriment of our country. What do you think? 855-616-1620. Quick break on WTMJ.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ. Everything you need to know on your way home.
Milwaukee police investigating a deadly overnight crash that killed 5 people, including 3 teens and a child.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure.
I think he behaved completely inappropriately. Should he be charged with terrorism? Absolutely not.
Sandy Max.
It says to serve and protect very often on the side of a police car. She really was serving.
And Greg Metzik.
The doubters will doubt and haters will continue to hate. But I get the feeling none of that will bother Jordan Love.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Av, and I've told you about the snoring, the tossing, and turning, lots of restless nights of sleep, lots of, well, I shouldn't say lots, some grouchy mornings on the radio. You got to sleep, folks, and the way I dealt with it is I went to Advent, a quick 30-minute visit, and I found out they could fix my problem. Mine was sinuses and nasal passages. It's different for everybody, and they will tailor a program or a relief that works for you. I had a short procedure done in office. I'm back to breathing well, sleeping better than ever. Again, last night, cool nights, great sleep, 7.5 hours. If you struggle like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help you. Want to find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better? Go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today. Easy as that. They can fix your problem. They can get you to sleep at night, and you don't have to have those tired, grouchy mornings on the radio or wherever it is you work. We all know what's coming because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. I always thought Vince Lombardi came up with that famous sports nugget, but it turns out he borrowed it from a college coach. And now I'm going to borrow it too, because when there are 10 or 20 offers on a property, there's only one winner. In today's inventory-starved real estate market, you need a Lombardi-level mortgage coach, one who has all the best plays in the playbook. Going with your bank for your pre-approval is like playing in a professional playoff game with the JV coach at the helm. The Lombardi-level coaches at AccuNet are called senior loan consultants, and each one has been trained by me to help you and your real estate agent work as one team to deliver the one and only thing that matters, winning. So if you've been losing with your flimsy bank pre-approval, trade up today to a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval and a Lombardi-level game plan. And if you're just getting started, why not start with the best? Click on the blue button today and get started with your winning game plan at accunet.com.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday. We're talking about Florida. NAACP has issued a travel advisory, and in the sense that they can. I mean, obviously those directives come from government agencies. Advising black Americans that it's hostile to people who look like them. I pride myself on a very diverse audience. We don't cheerlead for parties or necessarily elected officials. So we have candidates on, elected officials from both sides of the aisle. And the Old National Bank talk and text line reflects that. I'll give you a sampling, and you're welcome to join us on the phone as well, 855-616-1620. And as I said before, I don't think this is going to change anything. Fastest growing state, incredibly diverse, with all signs that that's going to continue, despite the attempts of the governor to kind of pull back on some of the more progressive areas of education in the state, as well as some other initiatives that he's working on, including a war on Disney. From the 414, I will go more often, most freest state in the union. Diane says this: the mission of the NAACP is to ensure the political and educational equality of minority groups of citizens in the U.S. When a state governor has waged a war on almost everything so that he can gain the MAGA votes, I honestly would never move to Florida, nor do I want to go there to visit. His actions have consequences, thanks to Diane. From the 920, definitely would not change plans. And what is the hostile situation? Saying whites have gone rogue and are going to be a threat to blacks? Nice job, NAACP, dividing our United States even more. Mike says, interesting topic. Have you ever wondered what happened to Black Lives Matter? Well, it's still around. It's just not in the news as much. Mike goes on to say, you don't hear about it anymore, so they are also a political entity as opposed to a civil rights entity. You can be both. Plenty of organizations are both. That is Mike's opinion. I didn't know this. Ironic that the head of the NAACP lives in Orlando, Florida. That's an interesting take. 414, as I said, a very diverse set of responses on the Old National Bank talk and text line. Delusional governor denying history more dangerous than Trump. I don't think we know what Ron DeSantis is yet. Being a governor is not being president. And it seems obvious when I make the statement. But your principles and your ideas do have to change a bit because you have to gain votes and popularity and acceptance in places that don't have no income tax, that aren't diverse or are more diverse. Areas of the country, big cities. Not that Florida doesn't have big cities. There's a lot to that. And we're just learning early on who Ron DeSantis is. And I've said this before. I used to work with his dad in the private sector many years ago. And I never would have guessed that his son would be the governor of Florida, but here we are. 262, freest state in the union, someone said. DeSantis is controlling books, colleges, Disney, women, anything. He doesn't like, he takes over and controls. I will say this. The Republican nomination for president, to kind of move that to the political arena, it's going to be fascinating. Is Ron DeSantis in some ways out-trumping Trump? You could make that argument given some of the things he's been actively working on in his states. I also think we have to be careful looking at decisions states make. Every state has a wide variety of ways they look at things. Wide differences, massive differences in some cases, on simple things like education, law enforcement, public safety, their state economies, what's important, what's not important, even down to, most recently, the state of Montana banning TikTok, and many states now looking at controlling social media platforms. So big difference between being a governor and a candidate for president. Karen from Milwaukee joins the conversation. Hi, Karen. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
I'm just really interested that a lot of people seem to be voicing an opinion on this, but the problem is towards black folks. Its concern is about the safety of black and brown people in the state of Florida. It's not a concern over the treatment of white people. So, frankly, I don't think what white people think about the travel advisory is particularly relevant, nor would we really know, if you're a white person, how a black person may feel in the state of Florida. So just thought I'd throw that out there for part of your discussion. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And let me speak to that. I think we have to be careful saying, well, you can't comment on something because you don't know. I don't have to be a brain surgeon to know that cancer of the brain is a bad thing. I also think that when we have these conversations about national politics, leading candidates, elected officials, when it comes to big societal issues, it does matter that we have a say. Look, I would never put my shoes in and try to assume the identity of a black American. Would have no idea. The history, treatments, I don't walk in those shoes. So I would never, ever go that far. But I think it's important to understand that if we want to really figure this stuff out, we have to talk about it. Because not talking about it is not a solution that's going to get us anywhere. It's going to make things worse. And that's why I bring these things up. Whether this is effective or not doesn't matter. It's something that a state has to reckon with, Florida. I think tourism is pretty important there. And an organization like the NAACP, who still calls himself a civil rights organization, highly political, yes, agree, are saying to a group of Americans, black Americans, be careful. They have every right to say it. Whether or not that has impact on any decision or the reality of life in Florida, so far none. Tourism is up. Diversity is up in Florida. Quick break, then we'll get to news.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All Brewers games are on sale now, including a Memorial Day weekend showdown with the Giants. Thursday, May 25th through Sunday, the 28th. Start the long weekend right at Aloha Friday on the 26th and get a Brewers Hawaiian shirt with a special ticket package. Then take home a Christian Yelich patriotic jersey giveaway on Saturday, the 27th, presented by Chevrolet. Get your seats at Brewers.com.
I'm certified financial planner Tony Drake with Drake & Associates. If you're retired or looking to retire soon, have you developed a strategy to minimize or eliminate the taxes when you start pulling money out of your IRA or 401k? If you haven't, then you have a very vulnerable plan because taxes are going up in the future. And if you look at the spending our government does, taxes could rise even more. Find out what's missing in your retirement strategy by requesting a copy of my Retirement Ready Toolkit that's loaded with materials designed to help protect you from taxes. Call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982 to get your free toolkit today.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
The workplace has changed a lot thanks to technology, and more recently, the shift to a flexible or remote schedule. Your business must adapt to maintain a great culture, attracting quality candidates and keeping them. You need Smart Spaces. The team of interior integrators at Smart Spaces brings creativity and expertise, assessing the walls, ceiling, lighting, flooring, furniture, and audiovisual systems to create places that matter in the modern world, fully functional for those in the building and for others to interact remotely. Get started today at smartspaceswi.com.
Years ago, Mom believed in us so much, she wrote a business plan to get the company started, and today, Johnson & Sons Paving is thriving.
And loaded with family.
I'm Jason Johnson.
And I'm Jeff Johnson.
Johnson & Sons Paving is your premier asphalt, concrete, seal coating, and striping company.
From pothole patching to asphalt repairs
to parking lot total reconstructions, we have you covered.
Johnson & Sons Paving is customer-focused and quality-driven.
Call us today.
262-251-5585.
Johnson & Sons Paving.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. We have to give away those Stevie Nicks tickets, a pair of tickets to see Stevie Nicks live at the Fiserv Forum Tuesday, August 8th. Let's go with a lower number. Let's go with number 4. Caller number 4, 855-616-1620. A pair of tickets, part of our wildly successful live and concert tour produced by Live Nation. FPC Live, Fiserv Forum, August 8th, Tuesday nights. Caller number 4 will win a pair of tickets. We'll do that 2 more times this week during the show. Be nice to producer Charlie. Our news time here is 10:31 from our breaking news center. Eric Bilstead.
Steve, the Packers say it's too early to determine whether the 2025 NFL Draft will be held inside Lambeau Field or outside. The team providing some more details today. This after the league announced earlier this week that the organization would host the event in 2025. Now, President Mark Murphy says if it snows, the league would love it. They've already said so. And also Murphy says this would be the biggest thing the Packers are ever able to host. He does not anticipate a Super Bowl ever coming to Titletown. Milwaukee has the 4th worst road conditions in the country. That, according to a study that was released earlier this week, a group called Teletrack Navman released the details. It says 54% of the city's roads are in poor condition. Other cities that made the top list, San Francisco, San Jose, and Los Angeles. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis expected to announce his run for president tonight. He'll do so with Elon Musk on Twitter. Time now for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now, the Dow is down 230 to 32,824. The Nasdaq is down 106 to 12,453, and the S&P is down 30 to 41,15. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Checking your roads now with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. 94 eastbound, Highway 16. Through the zoo all the way into downtown. So far, so good at the moment. Should be a standard trip of about 17 or 18 minutes. 4145 southbound, Highway Q to the zoo. That's on time. That's 15. 43 southbound, no problem. Brown Deer Road into the city. And 94 northbound is looking good, too. From Layton into the Marquette. Delay-free, 7 minutes.
Traffic is sponsored by Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Design Exchange is where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy today, much cooler and breezy. Some gusty winds today, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts. A high of 56 at the lake, 67 inland. For tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 45. Warms up a bit tomorrow. Sunny tomorrow, a high of 65. Friday, the high is 70. Saturday, even warmer, a high of 74. Sunday, a high of 78. Monday looking good, too. It should be a really nice holiday weekend, especially on Memorial Day as well. Right now in Milwaukee, 53 degrees. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1034.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Smooth waters and clear horizons are ahead. The experienced team of advisors at Fox World Travel are ready to uncover your cruising style. Are you sailing off into a Caribbean sunset? Taking in the European charm along riverways? Maybe an exotic expedition or Alaskan cruise are on your bucket list. We'll help you cruise like never before with Princess Cruise Lines, Avalon Waterways, Celebrity Cruises, and more. Visit foxworldtravel.com or call a Fox Cruise expert at 866-GO-FOX-GO.
Ready to downsize and move from your longtime home? Call Bruce's team today. Their senior real estate specialist will guide you every step of the way. Go from overwhelmed to I can do this. 262-242-6177. Bruce'sTeam.com.
I just learned Discover credit cards do something awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earned. Doubled. See terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
You're listening to the Steve Scaffidi Show on WTMJ.
All right, some fun. I was at an event on Saturday at the Rock. No, you don't have to turn your mics on. You're good. I have two guests who are part of that great story. Now, if you remember, for those of you in Radio Land, Best Buddies was my WTMJ Cares initiative last year. But when I as I told Caroline Saturday, when I sign on, I sign on. I commit for the long haul. So joining us in studio, Carolyn Tyson, great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
And Jamie Robick, Program Supervisor at Best Buddies. Welcome. We got to get you closer to the mic, though. There you go. You're a newbie.
She's a newbie.
Excited to be here, though.
Yeah, it's cool. And I was excited to be there on Saturday. Great turnouts at the Rock in Franklin.
Amazing turnout, amazing weather, fantastic people. We had a great day. Absolutely great day. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
So it was a walk. It was just a mile, right?
1 mile.
But we had fun. I met so many interesting, cool people in the kind of the walk up, and then we obviously did our little shtick. Me and Carol had fun with that, and then afterwards I was talking to different people, and we were walking around. That is a significant fundraiser for you guys.
That's one of our biggest fundraisers for the year. We are so very close to our goal of $85,000. We raised over $79,000.
Nice, you're close.
We are so close.
Maybe we get there today.
Maybe we can get there today.
I've got the standing offer. $1,000 donation to Best Buddies, half hour with Steve and Carol on the show. $1,000.
Wow.
Just tell the folks at Best Buddies. What's the website, quick?
It's www.bestbuddies.org/Wisconsin.
I think it's a bargain.
It's a bargain.
And we'll have fun. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So it's a chance for the guest, the donator, to actually have input on what we talk about.
Absolutely. This is fun coming in here.
It is fun. And you're a seasoned pro now.
I'm a seasoned pro.
All right, Jamie, tell me about your work with Best Buddies, because this is where the as they say, old people say, where the rubber meets the road, where the hard work gets done, the real implication of the dollars that we donated. Tell us about that.
Definitely. So our jobs program is one of the newer programs in Best Buddies Wisconsin. and is focused on helping individuals really identify individuals with disabilities, identify their strengths, their interests, some goals that maybe they didn't have before, learning about the long-term goals and how we get there, and then matching up with employers who are interested in diversity and inclusion, who value all of the business benefits that come along with hiring people with disabilities, and then kind of find that perfect match. A lot of what we do ends up being retention support. All of our individuals are really capable. The employers step in really quickly. We provide job coaching. My favorite thing to say is we never stop support. So 10 years from now, if somebody has an issue at work or is ready to take over as the manager of the company.
Or CEO.
Correct. We go back and we can kind of ramp up support till they're ready to master everything and be on their own.
I can imagine employers, given the challenge they've had with workforce, really appreciate this.
Absolutely. And nationally, Best Buddies has a 92% retention rate for the people in our program, which I think is a really big number for a lot of employers. And another really big number is that 84% unemployment rate for people with disabilities. So there's a huge pool of talent that's out there and for the most part untapped.
So how do you get the word out? I know that it's like schools are very involved with Best Buddies. I've seen those partnerships, those mentorships work real life, real time. You don't do a ton of advertising, but this is part of that, I guess. The fact that we've partnered and had great success. How do you get the word out about Best Buddies? And for the folks who aren't really tuned into what you guys really do specifically, kind of lay out what the program does, other than the jobs thing, just matching people.
Yeah, the primary focus of what we do is helping individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities feel included and part of our world. And most of that is through friendship. We want to help people with disabilities find a friend. Once you have that friend, the world's your oyster. You're flying high, you're included, you're active, you're out there. And then the other part of it is let's teach people with disabilities how to advocate for themselves, how to tell their elevator pitch, how to tell their story.